Well, it's another week. Sun came up, a little windy for my taste buds, but last week it was a win in every way possible except the scoreboard. Our fanfare and the stadium and all the people involved was unbelievable. The want to and the energy and the enthusiasm of the players, phenomenal. The game plan was a solid game plan, and I think, unfortunately, the only thing that truly matters is what's on the scoreboard. But in terms of everything else, it was a win. I know we've talked about our fans at length, and they deserve it. And I don't know what the banana thing was, but that was pretty cool. And obviously the shirtless section was rolling, so that was fun. Just the crowd in general. I think I appreciate what our players did until kind of one point of the game. It kind of got away from us, but there wasn't ever a point in that game towards the end there maybe, but that you didn't feel like, maybe we could pull this thing off. So it was fun to see everyone stayed for most of the game, and like I said, every possible way you could gauge a win, we won except for the points. So that's the next thing we're looking for. So that's it.
Doug, when you and I talked in the radio post-game afterwards, you kind of brought up, each week is a battle to find out where the guys are at and how many guys really want to engage. I mean, looking at the grades, and I'm not a pro football focused guy, but the grades were pretty high in a lot of spots. You had a guy make the national team this week in Seagren. When do you know how engaged you feel everybody, and when do you know what everybody's status is for the week?
Well, practice, you kind of get a vibe for the attitude practice, the meetings. Pre-game to me is just kind of a mystery because I've been on both sides of it where I thought we were totally juiced, ready to roll, and got whipped. And then I've been in pre-games where it's flat and we end up getting after an opponent. So, but like during the course of the week, generally you can see what you're going to get that week. But in terms of what was the other part? Injury? What?
No, it wasn't injury. It was just knowing whether guys are going to.
Yeah, it's during the week. Last week, obviously it's homecoming, and there was a little extra incentive there. But just through the course of the week, for me and probably most of the coaches, you kind of see what you're going to get in terms of engagement and effort and want to and that type of thing. So,
where are you guys at quarterback-wise, kind of heading into the week?
Well, it's still a little early there in terms of that part. We'll find out a little bit more today once we can see some arm swings. So to answer that question, I don't know yet. I think once we get down there, I know that he's come a long way. Zane's come a long way, but we'll know probably a little bit more about that part. We get through practice, and there's nothing that says it can't be a 2-quarterback platoon situation, or it could be Zane all the way, or it could be Sam all the way. We got to figure that out.
What did you just watching the film? What did you think of Sam's performance?
Yeah, Sam made some great wow plays, and he's really good with his legs. And then at the same time, he made a couple of mistakes there that were pretty catastrophic. But I think overall, in his circumstance, there's probably not a whole lot of guys that could do what he's done coming from receiver to quarterback starting. I'd like to see who that is in this entire country that can come out and kind of perform at that level coming as a guy that's been a receiver for 2 years. So we just got to limit a couple of little things. Took his eye off a snap. The pick 6 was, I don't know that was a phenomenal route. Receiver's a little bit lazy at the top of the route, and it may have been a little bit late, but he had a couple things in there that weren't good, but for the most part, you got to admire what he's done with a limited amount of time at a position that's, there's not an eye in the stadium or on either sideline. It's not on you every snap to do the right thing. So I'm I'm pleased with him.
What were some of the biggest differences you saw in Sam from this week from the week before?
Just another week of preparation, and it's about, again, just all the communication and the reads and checks and all the stuff. Just he'll just get better every week at that stuff. I'd just say generally just doing it. You know what I mean? Like in golf, if you get your sand wedge out and keep hitting it for a while, you probably hit a sand wedge a little better. So at quarterback, you get more reps at QB, and you eventually get a little bit better. And it's good because he has tape of things he does well and tape of things he hasn't done well, and so now you can kind of focus in on a couple of things that he's not doing well and just get better.
Along the lines of that, some things well, some things not so well. Did he say anything? Because I was kind of on the sideline from the sidelines. I don't know. He could have seen the receiver. I think he threw it up hoping his guy would go get it because there was a defender flat blocking him.
Yeah, that's just part of it. QB, you got to find the lane to be able to sight it.
Right.
And I've had some really tall quarterbacks that don't have that capability to find that lane, and I have had shorter guys that can. It's just it doesn't really matter. He just I think a lot of times you can sway either way and kind of find a lane for vision. And, he's probably 5'10" and a half. He's probably going to tell me he's 6 foot, but he's probably 5'10" and some change. And there are times probably that occurs. He's had to deal with his whole life, so I don't know that was a mistake. I think the ball placement wasn't great, and I don't think the route was great. I think the decision to throw was probably great. The best thing you're ever going to get, unless they bust, is 1 versus 1. And so his decision was right, but obviously the accuracy wasn't 100%, and then the route was kind of average.
On the good side, I think the 2 best passes thrown this year by an Oklahoma State quarterback, Flores threw one at Oregon that hit the receiver. He was doubled, hit him in the hands, and he wasn't able to hang on. The other one was that one.
Was that the fade to 16?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
The other one was Rigby. Here, that you can't throw a ball any better than Sam threw that vertical.
Yeah. He's made some wow throws. Like, it comes out at a rate that's, I haven't seen too many guys that can trigger the ball like that. And if you notice the flight of the ball and the rotation of it, it's tight and it's light. It's a lot of rotations on that ball. And it has probably something to do with his hand size, But he's an accurate thrower. It's just like anything, though. You hadn't done something in a while. It's you're going to have moments where it's not great. But, yeah, he made some – one of the best throws I was thinking he made was a comeback route. We ran a trick play where he was a receiver, and we handed it to him. He reversed out. We threw a comeback coming out of our own side. That was a great throw. But I think he's just going to get better and more confident. And I think the team sees the caliber player he's kind of developed into and get behind him a little bit. So
Last week, you faced one of the best offenses in the country. Cincinnati's really good on
yeah,
that
they're good
side.
on O. Yeah.
Now you face, I think, one of the best defenses in the country in Tech. You agree?
They're 9th in the country in total defense. They're number 1 in the country in rush defense, 62 yards a game. But you think about Tech's offense, they're number 1 in the country in total offense. They're number 1. But they're minus a quarterback potentially. But, yeah, we definitely got our work cut out for us. So.
What do you see out of the Tech defense that kind of –
They're edge guys. You think about their D in general, just their 2 DNs, I think it's Romello Height and David Bailey. David Bailey's got like 11 sacks. The other kid's got 5. So that's an issue because now you got to chip and do things with tight ends and backs, and now when you're throwing passes, you don't have the stretch horizontally you want because those guys have to kind of chipping to get out late or getting eaten up by the DN. So anytime you can put pressure on the quarterback and not have to blitz, that's why all those guys make all the money in the NFL. You got an edge guy that they have to chip and double and do all these things. You don't have to blitz and you can leave 7 in coverage. That's why those guys are so valuable, and they got 2 of them. I think the one guy was the number 1 portal player in the nation. I think he's out. Is he Stanford? Is it Stanford?
Yeah.
He's a hard charger. He's got some strength. He's got some girth to him, and And then the Mike linebacker or the Will backer, number 10, Jacob Rodriguez, he leads the team in tackles and has 2 interceptions. They got another corner, he's got like 3 or 4 picks. And the thing you notice about him mostly is that's just their relentless pursuit to the football. They fly to the football. They're well coached. I know Coach McGuire's the defensive guy, and they're really good on D. Yep.
When you look at Texas Tech, and we live in a different era, what's impressed you about the investment the school has made into that football program?
Impressive. Yeah, it's not using it as an excuse because every school is doing the best they can to do and come up with what they can come up with. You know what I mean? I think they have a couple of individuals that have given them, 5 times more than anyone else in the planet. So it helps. So that's impressive. But it's not to say that they're not doing a good job coaching. Because handling a lot of those guys that are high-level players that are anticipating NFL play and drafts, and it's a lot to kind of handle and deal with those guys and all those egos and whatever, and to get certain receivers X amount of catches and DNs certain amount of rushes and DBs certain, it's a lot to juggle. So those guys are doing a really good job of handling a really good roster because that's what coaching is really. It's about handling players and dealing with players from Sunday to Friday, and maximizing what they are and putting them in the right place. Yeah, it's good to have good players because that obviously helps, but I think they're doing a good job managing their roster as well.
Jakobe Sanders, local guy, gets his first career start. What have you seen kind of from his development?
Well, he's a super strong kid. He's a little bit undersized in terms of height-wise and length-wise, but he went out there and battled, did a good job. It's the same thing you tell all the guys that are backup players. I mean, you're an ankle away, you're a shoulder away from being in the game, so you have to prepare like you're a starter. And it's just, for a young kid, it's hard to maintain that type of focus when there's a good chance I'm probably not going to play. But at the same time, you better be prepared when it does occur. And he was ready to go. So good job by the coaches having their guys prepared.
How specifically have you seen that unit, the offensive line, improve?
Yeah, we lost the left tackle, Markel, and we switched Nuku over. And, you'd prefer, like, when you start a season, you prefer those 5 to stay in the same position, the same 5 the best you can, just because of the communication. And when you work next to somebody long enough, you get good as a tandem, either way for the guards, tackles, obviously, with the guards, and center with the guards. But just the continuity part of it. Because I know, like, when I played, there wasn't a whole lot of substitutions up front. And then the years after, I mean, you kind of want that to be cohesive. And we've had to juggle around a little bit, and they still kind of perform pretty well. So really pleased with those guys. I think in terms of a unit, there's 5 of them. They've held their own.
Doug, when you were at TCU and that team went all the way to the CFP championship game, I think you had 2 lost starts, 2 games on the offensive line. Do you remember, because you had the same 5 the whole season, except one guy missed a start and another guy missed a start. Other than that, it was that continuity.
Yeah, I mean, it was like that. Like when I was there in 14-15, the same thing. I think that starting 5 for 2 years, it was the same 5 guys for the most part. I think one of our tackles had a back for a little bit, but I mean, that's huge, It's just you just develop as a unit, and you're not just dealing with 1 guy or 2 guys. You're dealing with 5 guys that are, like a big ass bulldozer blade up there that can operate. So I don't really recall in 2022, but we had 2 or 3 NFL guys too, and all those O lines there was NFL players in there, and they stayed healthy because like they say, the most important ability is availability, and when you're available all the time, you're at practice every day, and you're healthy, that's there's a lot of value in that.
What does that say about those offensive line coaches that you have, that guys are rotating in? I think there's 3 underclassmen starting right now, but that group continues to get better.
They just do a good job, very thorough. They work hard at practice. I think you come in our practice and watch the individual periods. I mean, they're working fundamentals for, because they're going the whole time special teams is going. Special teams goes about 20, 25 minutes, and they get a bunch of individual time, a lot of instruction, and a lot of technique work, and those guys do a really good job.
Has Grant surprised y'all a little bit with obviously?
Yeah, because obviously the size, he's got the size you're looking for. He's probably legit 6'6". You hear 6'6", 6'7", it's usually 6'5" 3/4. He may be probably 6'6", and super athletic, being a tight end prior to moving to O-line. But, very limited experience at O-line, and all of a sudden your first start's Oregon. And he did really well. And he's been a really consistent player, and he's very athletic, and he's got some good length, and he's just going to get better. And he really cares. He listens, pays attention, takes notes, and he wants to get better because, he's a kid that is probably going to be a draft guy. And I know that's we're way ahead of ourselves here, but he's got a lot of the intangibles, a lot of the size and the length, and all the things that everybody's looking for.
What went into your decision to hand over the play calling duties to Kevin?
Well, I didn't feel like those guys are getting my best because of, and it's not necessarily this stuff. It's the mental. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but there's just you're dealing with 100 some odd players that are. Should I do this? Should I do that? And there's a lot of mental gymnastics in that. And I think it was kind of like, I don't think I was doing a very good job in terms of giving them my best. And those guys, they're fighting for themselves at this point in terms of their career. So I just kind of unplugged myself, said, you guys can go make this what you want, and moving forward, it may help you in the long run get your next whatever it is you're looking for. So I just felt like I wasn't completely dialed with all the other things, and it wasn't the physical workload; it's just the mental workload. I felt distracted, and I think that to give our offense the best opportunity and give those coaches the best opportunity for their future, I thought it was just a really good move.
Beyond that, Doug, can you kind of relay to the public what the decorum's like, what the coaches are like? Because these guys all do have one eye on what's next, because that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
they're all dedicated to doing this until they don't.
Right, because sitting in your office on your phone looking for a job is not going to help you. Being a jackass to the players and your coworkers is not going to help you. So what do you do? Well, just remember how happy you were the day you got this job. And while you're here, do the best you possibly can, because that's ultimately what's going to get you where you want to be for the next one, period. And, in this line of work, because it's a small group of people, you make 2 or 3 guys feel about you a certain way, you're going to make about 50 guys feel about you that way, because everybody knows everybody. So handling yourself professionally and doing the best you possibly can is my advice for any coach in this situation.
Was that hard for you to kind of come to that decision to let Kevin take over the play?
No, it was the best decision I ever made this year, period. It was awesome. Because they're doing a good job. Kevin put a phenomenal game plan together last week. I think they ran the ball really well. Fields had I don't know, what do you have, 160 some odd yards? I think they were giving up 120 a game rushing, and we had a running back of 160 plus, right? So, obviously did some good stuff there, and just moving forward, they're just going to dial into what they're doing. I like their package, their plan. It's more of a run game type plan, and quite honestly, I'm an air raid guy, and maybe that's not something I'm great at, but I think they did a great job with the plan and the play action and just dealing with a quarterback that hadn't been playing the position and moving some guys around. They did a great job.
Kind of channeled your inner Pat Jones, Larry Coker playing days.
Me?
Yeah, I mean, that's
we like running the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like running the football. Trust me, as a play caller, especially when you're a guy like me who likes to throw it a lot, when you hit a run for a touchdown, it's like, Awesome. It's like a bonus. It's like when you go fishing and you actually catch one, it's like a bonus. You're just glad to be out there, So.
You talked about your coaching staff. Can you just talk a little bit about recruiting and what you guys do right now to sell the program when there's a lot of unknowns of what the future is?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of just not answer that question at this point. I think that just quickly, we're kind of inundated with our own team at this point. We're trying to do what's best for these guys in that building right there right now. And what happens moving forward is going to happen. But, we're facilitating anybody who wants to come up here. Anybody has interest, we're working with those people. But primarily, our primary concern is our players and the guys that are under this roof right here right now.
Is that where it helps to have a recruiting staff?
Yeah, because they deal with they deal with most of it, and we deal with what comes our way when we're asked to do so. But again, if you were sitting in our shoes right now, with the landscape the way this is, you better be there for the guys that you're with right now more than anything, and the rest of that stuff will take care of itself. It's a great program, a great school, great facilities, the whole bit, that'll handle itself. But right now, our energy and concern is just dealing with these kids right here that have a lot on their plate and a lot of people in their ear and a lot of confusion and stuff like that. So we're going to be there for them.
You mentioned the landscape. The portal window finally closes this week. Are you just going to be glad when that's not even a topic of conversation?
I don't know. It's like what it is what it is. Whatever happens, and there's nothing we can do about it. So we're just going to try to make sure our kids know that we're there for them, and whatever decision they may have, and that's just stuff can't worry about really. If when Friday gets here, that's one less thing, I guess. So but other than that.
Rodney's still a relatively young guy. When you watch him on tape, especially from this past week, as good as he played, do you still see areas where he can hit another level?
No, he played pretty well. He was hitting gears this last weekend. I hadn't really seen him do. He looked. That's the best I've seen him look. He looked good. Like the one he took around the right edge there, he was rolling. He looked like he had some. He looked like he had some pop to him right there, and he's healthy. Finally, at that point, and then he looked fresh. He looked good, man. He's so compact and he's good in short space. He's got great short space speed and twitchiness, and he can get small. And he's kind of a shorter guy, so you can't really locate him maybe because he can jump in and out of some of the cuts. He's going to be a really, really good player in the future, and just really pleased with how he played last week and how he battled, and he was physical, and he finished. He died hard at the end of those runs too. Now he didn't get tackled. He was bringing it and making it hurt to tackle him. I thought he did a great job.
What did you know about Rodney when you took this job?
I remember him in Del City. I was at TCU recruiting him. Thought he was a really good player. Recruited his brother, Dede, as we were looking at him as a receiver actually, and he's one of our corners. But just knew him from the recruitment process, and when you're at TCU and you're trying to recruit a kid that's committed to an in-state school, it's kind of hard to turn their head, so I didn't really spend a ton of time on it. But just phenomenal kid, cares, studies, asks questions. He's just for the future of that kid, you're going to get a kid that's great in the locker room, that's great, a great teammate, and is a really good player.
There were a couple times you saw maybe the initial play breakdown on Saturday, but I think 3, 4, 5 times Gavin Freeman seemed to find a way to get open and make a play. Just what is it about him in those?
Yeah, Gavin's good. Gavin's good at kind of the freelance stuff, just like Sam is. They're more like when things break down. Like some of the routes you call with Sam, you call them so maybe it will break down. Maybe they'll cover everybody. And Gavin's kind of like that too. I don't think Gavin's I've said this before, he's not necessarily a color by number guy. He's more of a kind of let it flow type player. And when things break down, he can he has good instincts. So both of them do.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, man. I got my secretary bringing my.